Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to this very special offline edition for Citywide Bytes. I'm very excited because I'm going to be talking about a brand new comic, not yet released, out very soon. It is called The Groupies. First issue drops on October 22nd through Comixology, and I'm now talking to writer Helen Mullane. I'm now talking to writer Helen Mullane. I was going to get right eventually, but here we go. Helen, welcome to the show. It is so cool to have you here.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah. And fun fact, folks, we have actually spoken before about 4 years ago, actually almost to the day, which is weirdly coincidental. We spoke about your then debut comic. I believe it's Nick Niven and the Bloody Queen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we
that
did.
was an amazing title. So when I saw that comic, I thought, wait a minute, that rings a bell. And sure enough. But
We've
now
been
we're
here
here to
before.
yeah, it's like, this is familiar. But now we are here to talk about this new comic, The Groupies, which you did with artist Tula Lotay. And Helen, this is such an absolutely amazing title. I've been loving it.
Oh, good. I'm glad you've been
Yeah,
enjoying it. It's been a blast to work on. So,
I'll bet. Now, one thing I read is that so this comic is really all about a group of groupies. Hardcore fans of the band The Moon Show, and they get to tour with them, and everything's fine, everything's good, nothing to worry about here. It's going to get really bad, actually. But we're not going to spoil it for you guys. But I want to ask about the notion of groupies, the concept of them, because I read that you've long been fascinated by this. How so, and how did it come to be the theme of the new comic?
yeah, I mean, groupies are definitely a kind of part of pop fandom and rock fandom that I've always found fascinating. Because I feel like they're women who are seen from the outside so differently from how it must feel to kind of be them. They are kind of definitely in the 60s and 70s, like looked down on very much, but at the same time, they were absolutely determined to have relationships with the rock stars that kind of inspired them. And so, yeah, I thought they must be such interesting people. And that notion led me on a bit of a journey of research, of reading a lot of autobiographies and watching a lot of movies from the 60s and 70s that kind of delve a little bit deeper into this world. And as I did that, it felt essential to me to write something from their perspective.
So cool. Do you see any kind of parallels with like groupies and like music fans today? Because of course you got the Swifties, the hardcore Taylor Swift fans.
Yeah, I think that there's very few people in this world that can love anything as passionately as young women at a certain point in their life, especially when they're in these transitional periods in life. And I think that fans of Taylor Swift or Nicki Minaj, I mean, they're absolutely militant in their passion. And I think that we still have this, there's Chappell Roan has been talking about recently about the parasocial relationship between her and some of her fans, with a little bit of stalking and stuff like this, and talking about the fact that the kind of passion that fans can have for stars can sometimes lead them to not see them as their true selves, which I
Hmm.
think is a bit of a theme in groupies. What the girls think of the band is not necessarily who the band are or what the band think of them.
All right. So let's talk about the creation process. Now, I read that Tula is also like your co-creator for the series. How did you get from this interest in a concept of groupies to issue number one?
It was quite a long process in terms of germinating the seed into a story. But in terms of getting the amazing Tula Lotay on board, and she's a multi-Eisner winning artist. She's done such incredible work before, just recently with Somna and Barnstormers. We knew each other through the British convention scene. So you might have heard of Thought Bubble. And she's just the perfect person to bring this to life with. So I just kind of approached her, I just asked her and said, I want to make this book about groupies. Here's the bare bones of what I want to do. Are you interested? And all the stars were aligned and she was up for it. So kind of from there, the project kind of snowballed, because she's such an incredible and renowned artist. So from there, the rest of the process was just kind of exciting roller coaster to bring us to this point.
Hmm. And I was so excited when I saw that she had worked on Barnstormers because I loved that comic too, and definitely the art style, of course, very similar. And I just love her art, like the use of colors and the blending for certain scenes. Um, I'm curious, was there any back and forth discussion as to like how to draw this, or was it just like Tula did her thing and boom, nailed it?
Yeah, exactly. I think that when you're working with an artist like Tula, she's such a kind of special talent. You just, want to kind of give her the story and let her run with it. And we both share a lot of the same interests and influences, I think. We both love these kind of old horror movies from the 60s and 70s, this kind of Italian stuff, the giallo and things. So because we were drawing from the same kind of well. We've really been like simpatico all the way along the process. And what she creates in the book, I'm so excited for people to see it because it's so sexy and so surreal, and kind of really suits this kind of rock and roll, drugged out, kind of excessive world. She's got that kind of sensuality in her work that I think is just perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Like even for let's say the less pleasant scenes, there definitely is that strong like sensuality at work here. Is that going to continue like throughout the series?
I think so, yeah. I think both of us are fascinated by these ideas of melding together um, sex and horror and love and death. And I think that in this particular world, those things are so interlinked. Obviously, Groupies is at its core, it's a horror comic, and it's a horror comic looking at the kind of music machine and how young girls kind of fit into that. And I think that in real life, as in our story, there's as much horror as there is glamour. So I think that those things are essentially linked, and
Hmm.
that will come out through the art.
Okay. I want to ask about our cast of characters here because we have the groupies, Morgane, Gaia, Amina, Vera Vicious, awesome name by the way, and Lisa Storm, who's kind of our like POV character for the series. How did you create these characters? Did you base them on other characters from some of the things that you saw with your research?
No one is based on anyone in particular, but everyone is informed by everything that I read. So as the series progresses, there's going to be 5 issues, and each issue has a different POV character. So we're with Lisa at first, the second issue, we're with Vera, then with Gaia, Morgane, and Muzu, who yeah, so these these girls will all get their chance to have their say. And I think that it was important to me that they're all very different and they have very different viewpoints. Groupies, like anyone, it's not a monolith. People are there for their own reasons. Everyone's got their own story. Yeah.
I in particular love the back and forth between Vera and Lisa. Like there's some serious competition there between those two.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the really big inspirations as I got deep into the research for the series was these magazines called Star Magazine. They were released in the 70s, and they were kind of a groupie magazine. And they had interviews with some of the big groupies at the time in this magazine for teen girls. It's wild, actually. Um, and reading some of these interviews, I saw a real hard edge in a couple of the girls. There was a lot of competition, a lot of jostling, to see who's kind of number one and who gets the the biggest star and things like this. So yeah, there are characters who kind of represent that kind of mindset.
Yeah, everyone wants to hook up with the lead guitarist every time, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like lead singer and lead guitarist at the top and poor drummer at the bottom usually.
The poor drummer is like, "Hey guys, I'm here too. You know, I'd like to hang out."
Yeah, exactly. But
Drummers, they just don't get enough love, and
they don't get the breaks.
they're like the backbone of the band. It's like I'm
I
setting the
know.
rhythm, guys. I'm kicking off every song.
Yeah, absolutely essential to the rock and roll magic. But there you go.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
yeah, exactly. All right. I want to ask a bit about this presence that we get introduced to in issue one, and no spoilers, folks. Got to read the comic to check it out. But what can you tell us about this presence, this force that we're going to be seeing in later issues?
Um, so without being kind of spoilerific
Yep.
about it,
Yep.
I mean, to be honest, within the first page, you get introduced to
Mm.
this being. You don't necessarily know what their deal is, but there is a force in the book. It's ancient and it's hungry, but it bestows great gifts to those
Nice.
who are willing to make a deal. So yeah,
Good.
that's
Good
what I say.
answer. I like that. No spoilers, folks. All right. Setting this on the setting this on the Sunset Strip. Was this like a common theme with the things that you saw when you're doing your research for this?
Yeah, the Sunset Strip at a certain point was really ground zero for the rock and roll groupies. And there's a lot in this book that even though it's not based on anyone in particular, there's a lot of nods to rock and roll history within it. So for them that know will know. So there are well-known venues like the Fillmore, and kind of iconic places in various different tours that are represented within the story. And the band and the girls are going to go on a nationwide tour, and some places in that tour will be notable for riffing off real locations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is like really cool because this is like every like music fan's dream, as you said, to like have your favorite band and be able to just like follow them on tour and be with them. Such a cool thing. Um, I'm curious, were you like a big time like music fan back in the day? Did you like have that band that you were like, oh man, I would just like love to like hang out with them?
Yes, definitely. And actually, my first kind of printed writing of any kind was for a music magazine in the UK called Terrorizer, which was
Yes, yeah,
which was a metal music magazine. I did
yes.
my work experience for them when I was 15, I think. And then I ended up writing some. So there's old issues of Terrorizer that have got my kind of teenage
Oh
uh,
my God, nice.
in them. And there was definitely bands that I was obsessed with. The Clash and Typo Negative being two kind of very broad influences. But for this, definitely as I was writing it, the soundtrack was very Led Zeppelin, Cream, yeah, bands like that. I
All
think
right.
anyone should listen to while they read.
Nice, nice. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, we last spoke about 4 years ago for your then debut comic. How would you say your writing's evolved since then?
I hope that I'm getting better all the time. So since Nick Nevin, I've written a few more graphic novels, life forms. I worked on Superstate with Alex Packnadell, and I've just been, yeah, writing all the time. And I think that um, I've got in Groupies, I've gone darker. I mean, Nick Nevin has got its darkness for sure,
Yeah, a
but
little bit.
Groupies goes darker. It's more no holds barred. It's like quite stridently determined to be what it is. So yeah, this is a bit of a garbled answer, but yeah, I feel like with Groupies, I've been able to let all my best and worst compulsions come out onto the page.
I get you. I get you. And what's it been like for you to just like immerse yourself in the comic community?
Oh, it's been fantastic. It's been
Yeah.
magical. I have always been a comic fan, and I was always going to conventions and things like this. But since becoming part, a little bit more part of the scene, it's so welcoming and it's so exciting. And it's amazing to work in a medium where you can kind of strive for that. It's not like that there's this real kind of hierarchical scene where you can't reach out to someone amazing like Tula Lotay. You potentially can, and you can make these relationships and make these connections that can make really magical things happen.
Yeah. And then of course getting your comic on Comixology, one of like the biggest comic readers around right now. How did that come about?
Yeah, that's really exciting. I'm really chuffed about that. So that came through Tula Lotay. So Barnstormers was with Comixology. So, she had a really great relationship with them. And so when we pitched the project and gave them our pitch document and they saw kind of what we were doing, I think they saw the same thing that we did, that it's going to be a perfect marriage of form and function, and that having Tula and myself doing a book like this was hopefully a no-brainer.
Excellent. Well, definitely, definitely. All right, folks. Well, we are coming down to the end of this conversation. But Helen, of course, what is coming up for you? What is next once Groupies closes out?
So I have a new graphic novel that's coming out, but it's not announced yet, so I can't.
Oh, okay,
That's
okay.
just
I
like low
get you.
key,
I
like under
get
the
you.
thing. And then here in Ireland, I am working on some Arts Council stuff, so I'm kind of deep into another very weird and dark novella at the moment. So
Ooh,
yeah, there's a lot of stuff bubbling under the surface, but not a lot that I can
I
name
get you. I
now.
get you. And will we see you at any upcoming conventions or events?
Yeah, I'm going to be at New York Comic Con, which I'm very excited about. It's actually my second time going, but my first
Oh,
time going as a
cool.
creator. So me and Tula Lotay will both be there, and also at Comixology at Thought Bubble.
Oh my God. Going to New York Comic Con, that's big. That's real
Yeah,
big.
yeah, I'm beyond excited, really. It's from what I went there, gosh, a long time now, maybe 17 years ago, in my early 20s, and it was just the best time. It was the best time. So to go again with a book is just I can't tell you how happy I am about it.
All right, I'll bet. All right, so to close this out, of course, the big question for the people who are soon to be getting into the groupies. Again, no spoilers, but what can we expect as the series goes on?
Okay, so in the
Yep.
series as a whole, it is a kind of acid-drenched, blood-soaked journey into the heart of rock and roll excess. But it's also about friendship and
Yeah.
girly things. So
And also
yeah,
blood, and also acid.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's a great summation. I absolutely love that. Uh, Helen, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate this.
Thanks for having me.
But where can folks go to learn more about you and check out the rest of your works?
So I'm on Twitter, Super Megabot, and Instagram as well.
It's the
That's
best
a
handle.
holdover from
Best
the
handle.
it's a holdover from the old forum days. And I have a website, helenmullane.com. So yeah, check it out.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Well, Helen, thanks again. I've really enjoyed this. Hope you folks are enjoying Citywide Bites. And of course, check out the Groupies. Again, October 22nd, issue one drops. I've read it already. You're going to love it. Only on Comixology. We'll see you all next time.
Thanks, Max.